let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hello, I'm Kevin.
And I'm John.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look back at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies, and we're breaking them all the way down.
We're going to get into the nitty-gritty and examine the good, the bad, the ugly, and the laughable in these movies.
But we're always coming from a place of love. You don't watch these movies as much as we have unless you have a genuine affection for them.
Hi, John.
Hey, Kevin. Happy holidays, friend.
Happy holidays. We've been away for a few weeks, but we're back.
That's right. I've had rumblings from some of the fan base being
Have
like,
you really?
Yeah, I've been like, when are you guys going to get back on? Because I haven't had any, I can't go 3 Mondays without listening.
Nice.
That's from Andrew.
We
love
best,
you, Andrew.
That's the best thing I've ever heard. Shout out to Andrew and shout out to his new podcast that he's launched.
Yes.
Used to Be Cool, it's called. I'm angling to be a guest on there at some point.
You dog.
Yeah, I want to get on. They talk about music, their favorite music, old and new.
Mm-hmm. That you're not
Seems like
familiar
a
with?
cool premise. Yeah, they want to
very, very cool
get
premise.
into the deep cuts, introduce you to some new music, maybe some old music you never listened to. I'm into it.
Yeah, totally.
I was vibing with some of their picks on like their favorite Bowie songs. And so anyway, check them out. Used to Be Cool. I think it's on most of the podcast platforms.
Yeah.
And also shout out to our friends on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. Hope you've been enjoying our series on Beastmaster, which I loaded up. John's maiden voyage.
Oh, those were golden days.
They were.
In the
recorded around the same time.
Youth.
I think we recorded them around this same time of year, as I recall. It was like a Christmas Eve visit. Yep. So, yeah.
Probably to see ye old Arnold clan when they lived in Georgia before everyone, before the trek up north.
And we are back with a special holiday gift to our
this is our gift to you, really.
Most loyal listeners. We're going to finally talk about the Schwarzenegger Christmas movie,
I like you said,
Jingle All the Way.
We're finally going to talk about it.
I feel like
it's been pent up.
Yes. I didn't grow up watching this movie, obviously. It came out when I was beyond watching this type of movie, so I only saw it maybe a few years ago.
Yeah, I would say it's a very Home Alone type movie.
Absolutely.
And it's probably like 7 years past the time when you'd be like, yes, let's go watch another Home Alone movie.
Yeah. And it came out like just flat on the heels of Eraser. Like it feels like this movie was cranked out in a hurry. In a lot of ways.
It definitely does.
Like we got to have this shit in theaters by Christmas. So
that's how Arnold works, baby.
Yes. But it's got a lot of redeeming qualities, a lot of like genuine great laughs for me.
Yeah, I agreed. And this was my first time ever having watched it all the way through.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, like most of these movies, I was like, yeah, I would have watched this and loved it at the time. Parents probably would not have liked it, but it's like
this piece
anything
of shit
to stupefy the kid. This is one of those movies where it's like drop the kids off and go do Christmas shopping. And
Absolutely.
then come back and get them.
Absolutely.
86 brief minutes later, or whatever it was.
Before we get too deep into the bourbon and the movie, I do want to give a shout out, being that it's holiday season.
That's right.
To a Die Hard movie alum who passed away, Clarence Gilliard Jr. Rest in peace. Played Theo in Die Hard. Classic role.
He been in, like you were pointing out some of his work that he'd done, that he was like the gambling like outfit runner in Okinawa and Karate Kid 2.
Right, the dude like running the ice breaking. You think you can do better, Big Shot? Or whatever. Like, yeah. I love that. Sundown and Top Gun.
Which I did not appreciate until after you told me that. I was like, damn, he was busy.
In some
he was
big
doing
things.
As the token black guy, unfortunately, but like as notable characters in like just memorable roles.
And Walker, Texas Ranger was like his claim to fame, I guess.
And then I was like happy to see that he had been working these many years, the last few years, as a University of Nevada, Las Vegas associate professor in the College of Fine Arts. And that's the gig that he'd had the
That's
last.
bad.
So I
It's
guess
like
he'd
teaching
been like
theater classes
Yeah, I think
and
so.
stuff?
Like teaching acting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The thing you could say about him, though he never reached like lofty levels of fame, he always turned in a killer performance from everything I've ever seen him in. Like,
Yeah, agreed.
he was always a strong point in every movie he was in.
Yeah.
So rest in peace to Clarence.
Yeah, we appreciate
We raise
you,
a
man.
glass.
Yeah, we do, definitely. What are we drinking tonight in honor of Clarence?
Well, you may have heard on previous podcasts, John and I took a journey, a pilgrimage to Kentucky to drink bourbon, and came back with Boone County Distilling Company's Kentucky Pot Still Bourbon. I think it's delicious.
I agree with you.
It's got a little, it's good for the winter time. It's good for the holiday season. It's got a little cinnamony
it's
spice
a little
to
bit
it.
of a winter warmer for sure.
Yeah.
It does have a little holiday spice. Ginger snappy.
I detect hints of
gingerbready.
gingerbread. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think it's awesome. So shout out to you guys. We just polished the bottle off.
Yeah, both of our glasses are full. Well, they were before we started.
So this is going to be an interesting night as we talk about Jingle All the Way.
We'll be incoherent by the last episode.
Directed by, from what I could gather, just a true hack, Brian Levant.
What, you didn't like Beethoven or the Flintstones movies?
Or Snow Dogs?
Yeah, I never saw.
He was
that
just
Cuba
that-
Gooding Jr., right?
Yeah, he was just that dude. I think
Yeah.
he could crank out family-friendly fare in a hurry. No muss, no fuss. Not going to win you any awards.
Love Charles Grodin in Beethoven, though.
The first Beethoven. Yeah, I don't think I
Do
ever
you
saw a
remember that
Flintstones
movie where the dude, like the villains, they had like hollow point bullets or like something that they
Hell
were
no.
gonna like shoot the dog in
What
the
was
head
the
with?
plot of that? They had the Saint Bernard,
Yeah,
Beethoven.
But I feel like that Beethoven had been like witness to a drug crime or something. Sort of like
Could he talk?
Sort of like a fucking Turner and Hooch. So it was like I feel like it was a similar plot.
It was like Witness.
In fact, I may be conflating the two.
Wait, was he Amish? Was it Witness?
Yeah, I think Beethoven was
Harrison
Amish.
Ford.
You
We
can see
had
it.
Charles Grodin playing the Harrison
He
Ford
couldn't grow a
character?
beard, so the drool was the beard. Anyway, Beethoven and the Flintstones.
I definitely
movies.
saw that. He directed the sequel of Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas. He apparently
Amazing.
said that like he didn't work for a while after this movie. Like he said it murdered his career for a little while. This one, because I think it was expected, to be a success, and it was a modest success at best.
Yeah, well, I mean, it made its money back and then doubled it.
It did fine. I just think
Yeah,
feel like it's a you want that
fuck,
Home
it's
Alone.
not-
You want that Home Alone money.
It's not fucking. It's a Wonderful Life up in here with this shit.
Yeah, I think they thought maybe it was gonna be though.
Well, if that's the case, then what the hell? Anyway, we'll go on.
Written by a dude named Randy Cornfield. The only other movie I recognized from him was he wrote Eight-Legged Freaks, which I never saw, but it was like a B movie, like a giant spider attack flick.
Same. Yeah, I didn't recognize anything else.
Brilliant premise for a movie, this though.
Yeah.
Like I was surprised it had not been made already because it's such a simple, like it's so fruitful. You could take it in any direction.
I was trying to rack my brain if there was another movie or like I'm sure there's stories like it and stuff, but I couldn't think of one off the top of my head.
Just
when
like
I tried.
Yeah, parents battling for the sought after Christmas toy.
There are lots of like are you going to be home in time for like trains, planes, and automobiles and things like that, but not one like where it was like capitalism and commercialism at its height.
Like parents behaving badly, like competing
that was one of the like alternative titles that I thought for this movie. It could have like, been like parents behaving badly or Black Friday or something like that. It could have been one of those things.
And produced by Chris Columbus.
Legend.
Yeah, that guy. He directed Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire, and some of the Harry Potter movies.
Harry Potter, wrote The Goonies and Young Sherlock Holmes, which has a special place in my heart.
He's got a little pedigree. Starring our guy, the figurehead.
That's right.
The talisman. Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Howard Langston. He's the head staff, the headpiece to the staff of Ra.
They're digging in the wrong place.
Did you watch the preview for the new Indiana Jones?
I did.
What'd you think?
There's a lot of CGing young Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
like a lot.
I'm skeptical having seen that preview. I'm like,
I don't know how much of the movie takes place in what decade. because at some points it's like
they're in Egypt. It seems like
how
in the
old
desert
is he?
somewhere.
I think it's like
I think that's modern.
It's like they're skipping
time.
3 different decades.
Okay,
it seems like because there's young Indy.
Is it set in the 50s or the 60s? Maybe
because I feel like it's set in the 60s, 70s, but then it's like we're jumping back to just. Like, I think we're jumping back all the way to Nazi times, then jumping forward.
What I read was that the cold open of the movie is going to be young Harrison Ford, like Last Crusade age, Nazi Castle, which they showed a little bit of that. And then I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck's happening.
That's the still image that I saw was of a young Harrison Ford in a Nazi outfit. And
you got to say, it looked good.
It looked good, but I'm like, fuck. But even Harrison Ford was like, he said that he was creeped out by how good it looked.
Yeah.
But I'm still like
I'm skeptical. That's where I'm
I also want to interject here as saying that I don't know if you watched Dark on Netflix. It was a German sci-fi.
No, the time travel-y show? I haven't watched it. I heard it's awesome.
There's another follow-on series. I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but it's called 1899, which just dropped on Netflix.
That's on my queue.
Yeah, it's on mine as well, just because it's the same, a lot of the same actors even. But I watched the Netflix preview. None of those I'm sure they speak English, but I think that Netflix spent money to go back and have the actors' mouths CG'd so that the dub that you hear of the English language
it syncs up.
And syncs up really, really flawlessly.
Did you watch All Quiet on the Western Front?
Not yet.
I think they did that. Same thing. Man, I'm like, I watched the English dub because I was not wanting to read for 3.5 hours, but I'm like, the lips really sync up with this.
Yeah, a keen eye. Like I was like, I know for a fact from watching, because I watched it in the German for a couple episodes just to hear what the people's voices sounded like, because I wanted to know, like the original series, the Dark series. And then I was like, I know that that's not that dude's voice.
Yeah.
And so I was like, holy shit, they spent a lot of money on the CG of the mouths.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't like it.
You know, it doesn't need to sync up.
No.
If you want to watch the dubbed version, anyway.
The answer to your question is I'm cautiously optimistic, but also I love herself from Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah, she's amazing.
We're in love with her. She's I
don't know who she's. I think she's gonna be one of Salah's kids.
Yeah, he says he says that he's like her godfather,
and I saw Salah in the open. Shout out John Rhys Davies.
Yeah, we
shout
love you,
Gimli.
John Rhys Davies. Yeah, and Treebeard.
Tree? I am no tree.
I recently watched through, after having watched that Rings of Power, I watched all of The Hobbit, which wasn't as bad as I remember, and then I watched all Lord of the Rings. And Lord of the Rings is fucking amazing.
It's time for the yearly rewatch all the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I'm sorry, we took a lengthy detour.
Good luck editing.
Yes,
Goodbye.
no. So the film Jingle All the Way. We also got Sinbad playing the character Myron,
discovered on Star Search.
Is that right? He's doing stand up, right?
He'd already had a menial career up to that point, but then he finished runner up on Star Search.
So I had an ex-girlfriend who loved his stand up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and we watched it, and I was just like, I think it was very much an artifact of its time. You know, like the bits didn't age.
The 1990 HBO special Brain Damaged was one that I watched on loop. I thought that was the funniest shit I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, yeah, totally. I can't say that anything else that I've seen him in that I've been like, yeah, that was good.
I think he was in A Different World, which I didn't watch, the sort of Cosby spinoff show.
Yeah, he was good on the show.
But apparently Chris Columbus wanted Joe Pesci for the role, but then they thought that he was like too short to be in scenes with Schwarzenegger.
That's
which
funny.
Is, I don't know. But then they cast Sinbad, who's like taller than Arnold.
Right.
But also, I only recently found out Sinbad had like a really bad stroke a few years ago, and was sort of like in a vegetative state for a long time. And apparently he's like now recovering, and his dream is he wants to walk out on stage and do stand up again, is like what he's working towards.
That's amazing.
I know, dude. So God bless you, Sinbad. I hope you make it.
To you.
He is good in this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The dude has chops.
Yeah. Starring also Rita Wilson as Liz Langston, Howard's wife.
That's right.
That's Mrs. Tom Hanks to you, but a star in her own right in the 90s.
Maybe Tom Hanks is Mr. Rita Wilson.
Mr. Rita Wilson, his better half. Yeah, they're one of the the day that marriage fails is the day that I'm just going to give up on dating.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
I think they've been making it figured out. I think they've got it figured out.
Yeah, I think so too. And a personal favorite of mine, Phil Hartman, as the character of Ted. SNL alum, also rest in peace.
He is like a different generation. Like he's like the Bill Hader almost of that generation.
He's great straight man.
Yeah, but then he can also like I don't know. I loved him, and then I was fucking sad. Like even as we were 20 something. I think
he got killed
or about to be when his
wife killed him, right?
Yeah, so he was blowing up before his wife killed him, and then she killed herself. Shit. He was originally a graphic designer and did album covers for Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Before he got on SNL.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Then he was in the Groundlings, where he met and befriended John Lovitz. He was like best friends with John Lovitz and Paul Reubens of Pee Wee Herman fame. He helped create Pee Wee Herman.
He was on that show. Was he? He was
Jambi.
He was Jambi.
Make a lick a hi, make a hidey ho.
Amazing voice on him.
His voice was phenomenal. And then he was on
The Simpsons.
A
million voices. He was.
And then he was on News Radio. That show was fucking awesome, right?
News Radio, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think what was his recurring Simpsons character, the main one, the actor.
Oh, he was
McClure. Troy McClure.
Yeah. So, I mean, he took off when he was on SNL. He joined in 1986, did voices on The Simpsons, and then started to do more of like these kind of character acting roles. And then his, like, apparently by all accounts was like super mild mannered.
Yeah.
Kept to himself. Like a lot of people were like he was kind of like that way, so maybe there was some social insecurity there. And then his like crazy wife just shot him, just killed him. And then she was apparently like hopped up on all kind of drugs, and then she killed herself.
That's such a waste, though.
And then she was apparently like all like super jealous of like the career that he was having because she was an actress and model and yada yada yada.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah, it's very fucked up.
But
so anyway,
I feel like this role of Ted was like the role he was born to play. Like this was the perfect tailor-made role for what he does,
for his mannerisms. Yeah, definitely.
And we gotta shout out young Jake Lloyd,
young Anakin Skywalker,
young Anakin as Jamie Langston. This was, I presume, had to be the thing that put him on Hollywood's radar.
Yeah, I don't know how or why. Because he's fucking terrible.
He had 1 or 2 decent scenes in this movie. And but I mean, you can't say they didn't know what they were getting in Star Wars because he turned in the same sort of like reading off cue cards type performance.
It's terrible.
Oh,
and it is not just the Phantom Menace rub. It's just like, it's like watching someone that's like, all right, watch these adults say this and now you say it.
See, I don't even, in situations like this, it's come up before on other podcasts. I can't even blame the kid. It's not the kid's fault that the kid's not up to this. Someone cast this kid. I blame the adults around them that thought that putting this kid in was a good decision.
But also I want to go back and like I want to know about his parents. Like, what was the clout? There had to have been some clout there.
So I was looking him up on IMDb, and his headshot on IMDb, this fucker nowadays looks just like AJ, like Anthony Jr. from The Sopranos. Just like him in those later seasons. Sort of just real skinny with like that little painted on, like penciled in, sort of goatee.
Yeah.
Or whatever. At least that's his headshot on IMDb. You probably doesn't even look like that.
I saw the same thing, and I was like, oh,
AJ?
Okay. Okay, Jake Lloyd.
But that's the movie. Those are the people.
Yeah. What happens? Let me tell you about it.
Tell me.
So the movie starts with that glorious 20th Century Fox animation.
Can you see that without thinking Star Wars?
No.
Me neither.
It's the first thing that I think of every single fucking time.
I grew up like you, probably watching the original Star Wars, the black and the green text Lucasfilm Limited.
But even the re-release in the 90s, the 3-tape VHS with Leonard Maltin's fucking commentary at the beginning, the little interviews with George Sharpie neck Lucas, and like it's like as soon as the music plays, I'm like, well, it's a Star Wars movie.
Absolutely,
it shocks me that 20th Century Fox didn't go and do audience testing and say, do we need to change things up? because we're confusing people.
The fanfare is
like
that's
just the music for Star Wars, and then we'll change the music for other movies.
But it was on things before Star Wars, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, it's just like in my brain, it's so ingrained.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, good for the marketing team from Lucasfilm and THX and 20th Century Fox and all the rest. So anyway, it opens with some action from Turbo Man, a TV show which is a Power Rangers spoof.
Were you a Power Rangers guy?
I was, even though I admit that I was a little old to be a Power Rangers guy.
I think my younger sisters were watching it. I think I didn't see what all the hubbub was about.
Yeah.
I was too busy watching like Beavis and Butthead.
I was a big fan of like the like Japanese, like Godzilla, like that kind of things. Ultraman. I loved that kind of stuff. So it was that element that really intrigued me. Not so much the action or the stories or anything, but I just loved that kind of TV show.
Okay.
The monsters like destroying cities and shit. The heroic Turbo Man and his goofy sidekick Booster, which is I guess he's supposed to be like a cringer thing, but he's a biped. Yeah. He stands up on
a pink sort of saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah, it's weird.
Thing.
Battle the evil Dementor, and Dementor looks like Leader for Marvel Comics fame. He's a villain.
Okay.
Gamma radiation. He's a Hulk villain. I think also like.
Was he super smart?
Yeah,
that was his thing.
Yeah,
got like the exposed sort of.
He
brain.
wasn't strong. He was like very smart and had like a big cone shape.
Who was the Krang?
Yeah,
the Krang was
Turtles.
Krang was just a disembodied brain.
Yes, exactly.
Living inside of whatever that other dude was.
X.
What was that other big dude? The robot-y sort of.
It's just a suit that he was in.
What was it? Did he have a name though? No,
I can't remember. I don't think so.
Okay.
Just his suit that he fit like in the tummy of. Which
we're gonna get a lot of
amazing.
Nostalgia on this series. I can tell already.
I mean,
I love it.
But that's so much of this. What like conjured that imagery up. So in the show, Turbo Man saves the day, rescues a young boy using all manner of gadgets. Fucking Harvey Korman is the man tied up in the chair.
Yeah, you were telling me. I saw that name and I was like, I guess I should know who that is.
Carol Burnett, legend. He was all like, he played a lot of the straight man characters in the thing to like Tim Conway's goofy, like legendary acting roles on that show. But like tall, svelte looking guy. And so when I saw this, I was like, holy shit. And I felt like whoever was in charge of casting was like going out of their way to find some like old Hollywood guys.
Yeah, we needed cameo. This was like the time for cameo. So Dementor was Richard Mall.
Yeah, from Night Court.
Bull. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But it just should have been like bigger A-listers. Like Arnold should have called in all favors, you know?
Yeah.
Get like fucking Charlton Heston or somebody in there, you know?
Should have gotten Sven in here for something.
Danny DeVito.
Yes. Danny DeVito could have been a Santa, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so we cut to young Jamie Langston, played by Jake Lloyd. He's watching the show on TV and it's like cheering along with all the heroics. On the show, Dementor swears he's going to get revenge, and then he disappears in a puff of smoke. Turbo Man returns the rescued boy to his parents, who appear to be President and First Lady, even though she's like way younger.
Yeah, which we've had recently in the White House.
Yeah.
But that's how I saw she was credited as First Lady.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, damn, it would have made more sense if like this was the president's grandson or something, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't think they were that concerned about it.
Yeah, people suspend their disbelief. So Harvey Korman thanks Turbo Man, and Turbo Man drops what is, I guess, like one of many catchphrases, but one that like proves to be a big thing in the movie is "You can always count on me," and gives a little double-digit finger salute thing.
He's very much like a Buzz Lightyear type of thing going on.
Big time.
Which was, I think Toy Story came out like right around the same time.
His costume looks like a cross between Rocketeer and Ultraman.
Maybe Flash, a little like Flash and color scheme.
But the build of the Tick.
Yeah.
The Flash color scheme definitely, just because it's like mostly red and gold. So Jamie's mother, Liz Langston, played by Rita Wilson, enters and tells Jamie to go and get changed for his karate class. Mm-hmm. Jamie complains that Dad's not home, but then he's like, he'll probably like miss me getting my belt anyway because he misses everything.
He was such a rotten actor, dude. I couldn't even see him like read things without just in my mind hearing that like, what are midi-chlorians?
He's fucking terrible. He can barely read is the thing that I'm getting. It's like I can feel his parents beating him.
We are talking about a 7-year-old, so I want to cut him.
Is he 7 at this time?
Yeah.
Well, shit, man,
that's
really
that's a lot
small
to ask.
Well, then in that case, he's a lot younger than I thought. He's an old-looking 7-year-old.
You think? Yeah. I have a 7-year-old nephew, and he looks younger than this kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
This kid's just got a big bulbous head. So I do think it's a lot to ask for a 7-year-old. He also had Jim Carrey's haircut from Dumb and Dumber. Just like a bad haircut.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah,
I was thinking
a little, like mauled buzz cut thing happening.
Yeah. Before we move on, I was thinking about this. That role of being young Anakin, that had to be the most sought after kid role. Maybe until maybe Harry Potter or something like that came along.
Yeah, good call.
The most pressure on who are we going to find to play this kid in this movie that we already know is going to be a huge hit.
Yeah.
So we got to find a good kid to do it, and
why settle?
I mean, how old was Haley Joel? Could he have been Anakin? Was he the right age?
Yeah, he would have been for sure.
Okay, because that kid could fucking act.
Yeah. And he would have been amazing.
Maybe. I don't know if he would have fixed the bad script. I mean, my problem is you're asking a kid to talk about fucking midichlorians.
What are
midichlorians?
Sir, I'm wondering.
I heard Master Yoda talking about midichlorians. What are midichlorians? Fucking shit.
So anyway,
okay, sorry.
Jamie's dad's a deadbeat, we gather.
I apologize, Jake, because I ain't no way Jake Lloyd's not listening.
Yeah. Well, you and Daniel Day, they're probably listening together, right?
They're
listening together.
What do they drink? Scotch and listen to podcasts?
Definitely. But they're probably drinking, because it's, what is it, Friday? Then it's a single malt. It's a single malt night. Otherwise, they'd be drinking blended with I don't know, a mixer of some kind. Yeah.
What are they drinking?
Johnny Walker.
Okay.
Tonight they're drinking Brook Laddie or the Macallan or something like that. Lagavulin. Now they're drinking some good shit. So yeah, Liz assures Jamie, "Hey son, your dad's going to be there. He's probably just very busy at work." So we cut to Howard Langston's, that's Schwarzenegger's office, where a company Christmas party is in full swing.
Shouldn't he have been partying?
He should have been.
Wouldn't that have been the better cut? He's actually working.
Yeah.
He actually is busy. He's not just cutting up with the.
Well, that's the thing is they immediately want to paint him a workaholic, and maybe there was an earlier thing where he's maybe a philanderer or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Just the thing. At least he should have been throwing back drinks and cutting a rug.
Yeah, so he's still up in his office making that paper. When we see him, he's on a call with a client saying tried and true corporate America aphorisms like, "We're real busy, but I like that." And that company order by next week won't be a problem because you're our number one customer.
Watching Schwarzenegger try to pretend to be a salesman is just weird. It doesn't work.
No.
It's like watching him pretend when he's in a racer when he's just pawing at that computer.
Yeah. I can find the data.
Or when he was reading those maps in Commando. It's dude, you're not a salesman.
Oh, according to these charts.
I just had a protractor and a ruler, slide rule.
So while he talks,
he doesn't know how to pretend like he's having a phone conversation either.
No.
It was just odd.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's has Schwarzenegger been so busy that he is it's lost on him how to do menial things?
Well, he probably never had a proper acting class. But this doesn't seem like the type of thing that they teach in acting class, how to pretend you're on a phone call when there's not someone actually on the other end.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
Yeah, while he talks, his secretary pulls an Andrew Lincoln in Love Actually, holds up signs reminding him that Jamie's karate class is about to start. He's like, "Get out of the office," mimes to her. Mm-hmm. As she leaves, more calls come in, more clients with more requests that are also problematic because they're all his number one customer.
Every single number one customer.
My number one customer.
I did a little freeze frame analysis. Apparently, he sells mattresses.
Yeah, I saw that. So yeah. And
mattresses
I guess
and box springs.
So that's light years ahead of its time, since that's now in the instant ordering.
Yeah.
Era.
He must be a wholesaler or something.
Yeah,
he provides them to the mattress stores,
to hotels or something.
Good shout.
That was that was what I was thinking. Is they're "Oh, we need them in a different color because we're in a Hilton and
there was
wherever."
A brief moment where he was working the little grip exerciser thing. That was the only explanation to how it is that he's fucking completely jacked.
Yeah,
he's the most jacked mattress salesman in America.
So Liz calls to check on him. He assures that he's going to be at the karate demonstration thing, but he's distracted with work, so he wraps the call by telling her that she's his number one customer. And he's like, oh, fuck, I'm so sorry. But she, like, hangs up on him.
Arnold was trying so hard to act in this scene.
I feel like this whole movie, but also I feel like this is one of those things where, and we can't assume that Arnold ever had time to live in a character.
Yeah.
There are very few roles where I'm like, yeah, Arnold had time to, like, really think about this. This was not.
This is a rush
things.
job,
yeah.
But I feel like as a man, he has experience being a bad husband, like life experience. It should have come naturally.
That's amazing.
To him.
Make sure that stays in. So yeah, he realizes once they're off the phone, he screwed up and he scrambles to get out of the office on the road. And it's like reassuring himself, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. And his assistant's like, he's not going to make it. I love that bit. So we cut to Howard tearing ass to the slick Minneapolis streets and, of course, right into gridlock traffic. I can't speak as to what Minneapolis's traffic situation is like, but I'm sure going out of any metro area at rush hour, it's not great.
Well, he reacted like he's never seen traffic before.
He's like, oh, my God.
What the fuck are these cars?
I've never seen another car. Cut over to Falcon Heights Elementary School, where Jamie and other karate students are entering the gym. One parent's recording his boy, Johnny. That's Ted, Phil Hartman's character, who's sitting beside Liz.
Culture has not changed, man. Like all those parents with those massive camcorders, we got to just videotape this shit.
Yeah, because some shit we're never going to watch again.
Never look at again.
Nope. So various single moms start hitting on Ted, which is amazing, while the kids are all doing their karate demonstration.
That shit was wild when she's like, I got a porch light. Then he says, you're such a handyman. He's like, well, I've got just the perfect tool for the job.
Yeah, it's like,
then he gives this amazing like look where he's like
a slow walking over to Liz. Like it's almost like he's like, can you believe this is happening to me? He's like trying to disarm her. Liz seems kind of grossed out by it, admittedly.
Yeah.
So out in traffic, Howard, like a complete fucking asshole, decides he's going to drive on the shoulder.
Ooh.
And nothing makes me, I like want to pull over and open the passenger door so that he knocks it off.
That's the closest I ever get to murdering someone is when I see someone like cutting, just driving in the shoulder.
Yeah, I'm like, suffer with the rest of it. I mean, admit it, that's like some student loan bullshit. But
it's also like, I always think to myself.
But it's also against the law.
It could be someone who just got a call that their wife was in the hospital.
Maybe.
And but I doubt it. They're just assholes.
Yeah. Howard's got a big shit-eating grin on his face while he's doing this. Like
this is going perfectly.
Reassuring himself that he's going to make it until a motorcycle cop pops out and pulls him over. Mm-hmm. Howard tells the cop that he's in a huge hurry because he's really late for his son's karate class. The cop's response and delivery are golden. He's like, oh, I do apologize if I've caused you some sort of delay. How thoughtless of me. Because the last thing I want on my conscience right now is for a private citizen to somehow be disappointed in the performance of my duty.
Ooh, that guy.
It's just so fucking awesome.
Total prick, but also completely accurate.
Yeah,
from my experience interacting with police.
Yeah, Howard tries to walk it
back.
We
got to shout out Robert Conrad.
Yeah, we do. Rob Conrad, like stunt actor, TV film actor and singer from like that from 50s, 60s Hollywood. Well, probably 40s, 50s, 60s. But then even a little later.
So he was I looked him up because I was like, this guy must be somebody.
Because he is
the bearing of
movie.
Classic Hollywood. He was the lead character in Wild Wild West, the TV series. He played Jim West. When he was the lead in another show called Hawaiian Eye, which seemed like some sort of Magnum PI type. Like, I'm a private eye in Hawaii.
Lots of detective shows and stuff. Yeah. And Westerns, and then a couple of like World War II era TV shows as well.
Yeah, so he is like old Hollywood.
But again, this made me wonder if whoever was in casting was like, I fucking loved that guy. Let's get him some work.
Well, it was a good role for him.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So Howard tries to walk his offense back, but the cop tells him to get out of the car, puts him through an exhaustive field sobriety test. Back at karate class,
he had him doing the fucking like
say the ABCs backwards.
Yeah, I used to practice that shit because I'm like, I don't think I could do that sober.
Yeah, I would.
Like, could you do it on the spot if someone was like?
No, I'd say how. You're not gonna time me, are you?
Z
Y X.
Yeah.
W VUTSRQ.
Oh, you're nailing it.
And
we're a little drunk.
Yeah, exactly. So
you're doing it. You're good to drive, John.
I'm good to drive. Wow.
Drive as fast as you can
around the neighborhood. Just see what happens. So back in karate class, Jamie successfully breaks a board, which is enough to earn him his purple belt.
That's right.
I guess. But he's crestfallen when he looks around and realizes his dad's not there.
I just saw him and thought, this is damn near a Jedi outfit that he's wearing. Yeah. You know, it's like the karate gi.
Yeah, he looked the part. Sometime later, Howard makes it to the gym, but it's empty except for the poor custodian who's been relegated to like cleaning up all the broken boards and shit.
Why? What the fuck is going on in this school?
That is horse shit. Would you not tell the kids, hey, clean that up, let's put it in a bag and carry it out?
Well, no, they're doing their karate class at the public school, it seemed. Keep that custodian around to sweep up our broken boards after. How late? It's like 9 o'clock at night or some shit.
On Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that's horse shit.
That's not going to fly.
Also, Howard running in there like, dude, you know damn well you just drove up to an empty school. Like, they're not in there anymore. It's over, dude.
You have a watch. The clock in your car, in your Suburban works. So, anyway, as Howard pulls in his driveway, he's surprised to find neighbor Ted putting up lights on the Langston residence. Howard's like, Ted? And Ted's like, hey, I had some extra lights and I couldn't help but notice what, you haven't done shit. So what the heck?
Since you haven't put up any yourself, I thought, what the heck? Why not spread a little Christmas cheer around the neighborhood?
That voice.
It's just like, oh, you want to punch that man.
Oh, my God. So Howard's like sarcastically thanks Ted thank you for being so thoughtful.
It's a real talent to be able to be annoying while also being what seems like just a genuinely good person.
Right.
Like, I think about, remember Gale from Breaking Bad? Like,
yes.
Where, like, you just don't like him for some reason, but he's nothing but a nice guy.
Yeah.
Or
but he's punchable.
Was the dude's name? What was the dude's name in Better Call Saul? The other lawyer, the blonde-haired dude.
Oh, Howard.
Who was like, he never did anything malicious or mean to anybody
in
the whole series.
He's just an upstanding citizen.
And for some reason, you were rooting for his downfall or bad things happening.
Because you become attached to Saul, and because like anything that stands in Saul's way, even though Saul's kind of a fuckface, is like, God damn it, Howard, I hate you.
Or like
even
Flanders on The Simpsons, who's like the prototype good human being, and you're like, that fucking annoying Flanders.
Well, I can just tell you, it's the same reason that people love Donald Trump and their ilk. It's
stupid, sexy Flanders.
So Ted then tells him, I'm sorry you missed the karate demonstration, but don't worry because I got the whole thing on video. And Howard gives him this shit-eating look. Howard gives him this eat shit look as he walks away.
It's decent acting from Schwarzenegger, that bit.
Facial acting is great. So inside, Howard, without greeting anyone, immediately is like, hey, did you ask Ted to put lights on the house? And she just ignores him and is like, do you know what time this is?
It is a ballsy move to walk in from having missed the karate class, instantly criticizing her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and she's like, she ignores him and asks, do you know what time it is? He complains about the terrible traffic and getting a speeding ticket, and she's like, I'm not the one that needs an explanation. So Howard finds Jamie in the den watching TV. It's a Turbo Man commercial.
Yeah.
Comes on, thankfully. Jamie is not happy to see Howard. Howard tries to explain why he missed the class, but Jamie runs to his room, doesn't say anything. Howard follows him and tries to patch things up, but Jamie slams the door in his face.
Did you notice the weird sort of, so they were in the room together,
right,
having a little showdown, and then Jamie comes running up the stairs, and Howard comes from a different direction, following. It was just a weird
double stairs.
A weird way they blocked it though, but he was coming from a different room, having been just in the same room or something. It was odd. Anyway, I noticed that, and I was like, this bothers me.
A cut scene or something like that.
Something happened.
Yeah, so Howard follows him. Jamie slams the door in his face. Howard goes in and then says, can I come in? I'm like, fucking, you just let yourself in.
That room was like every fucking 8-year-old's dream, dude.
Yeah, he's a Marvel nerd, a comics nerd.
Who put the Captain America murals on the wall? That was awesome.
Yeah, that cost, and it made me mad at Jeff and Gina for depriving us of all the
So I was not
letting me let my flag
I wasn't
fly.
A comic book guy, but I'm just like, damn, these Langstons must be having some bank because this cost thousands of dollars.
He owns that mattress factory, baby.
the original
mattress factory. So Howard tries to be goofy dad. Jamie's still not biting. Then there's this whole bit with Howard picking up Jamie's purple belt, like trying to be funny
really
with it.
Cool.
And like tying it on as a headband and doing like a Karate Kid crane kick. And I'm like, it's like painful to watch.
It was bad, but I could still respect the homage to Karate Kid.
But man, it's like, it seems disingenuous, but I guess there are dads out there that are like that.
Schwarzenegger was going for it, man.
Jamie isn't amused, and he goes and sits at his desk and starts drawing a picture of a happy family.
Was that weird?
Yeah.
Like that is like in a bad mood, and he's like, I'm just going to sit down and draw a smiling, happy family.
The first thing that pops into my mind is the family I wish I had.
I guess that's what's happening.
So the sincere music swells. Howard walks over and says, look, I know that I fucked up. Jamie's like, I don't care. Howard says that he really wanted to be at class, but Jamie says, you always say that, but you still never show up. And Howard says, look, I'm sorry. And to make it up to you, I want to know if there's something special that you want for Christmas, something that I can do for you, my son.
Can I buy you your forgiveness?
Can I buy you? Yeah. So Jamie's like, there is, but don't worry about it. I talked to Santa. And Howard's like, well, sometimes Santa gets busy and parents need to help him out.
Dude, Schwarzenegger trying to be like the tender father is a stretch.
Yeah.
I mean,
where is John Matrix?
This was better than Commando, where they had like a brother-sister vibe.
Yeah.
But
I would do anything for Jenny.
Jenny. All that matters now is Jenny.
All that matters now is Jamie.
But he did this shit better in Kindergarten Cop. Like being just I don't know. At this point, he had kids. At this point, Arnold was a family man, but he still couldn't really pull it off.
He had children. We don't know if he was a family man.
He had a lot of families.
Just begging the housekeepers.
Arnold, I love you.
Yeah, we do.
Please come on the podcast.
We know you're listening with Daniel Day and Jake Lloyd.
Drinking that schnapps.
That's right. So JB goes full Ralphie in Christmas Story. When he lights up and he's like, I want Turbo Man with all the fixins, all the bells and whistles.
That had to be the audition scene, I feel like, was rattling off that commercial because he nailed that shit.
Batteries not included.
Of all the stuff I've ever seen Jake Lloyd do, I felt like this scene was the strongest acting I've seen from him.
Yeah, because it's not strong.
It's not great.
It's like he's supposed to be conveying having memorized the thing.
Yeah, he's heard it 100 times.
This is a commercial. Listen to this commercial I memorized.
Yeah.
Parents love that shit because then they can say, listen to my kid do this crummy commercial. A crummy commercial?
A crummy commercial?
So JB says all his friends are getting one and that any kid without one will be a fucking asshole.
That was rough, but it's also true to life, I think.
Yeah.
Like, and his reaction was, don't worry, that won't be you.
Yeah.
Like, that's problematic, isn't it?
Don't worry, son. We'll make sure you're not a loser.
Yeah. It's like, it should be like son, toys don't make a kid a loser.
Why not?
Material things don't make you a loser.
Why not? We survived Leningrad. Fuck your toy. Something like that.
I scaled the Berlin Wall and escaped East Germany.
Fuck your toy. Anyway, Jamie's like,
in communist Germany.
So Jamie thanks Dad, gives him a big hug, and tells him he loves him. There's this heartfelt father-son moment where Arnold's flinging Jake Lloyd around the room with abandon.
I want Arnold to do that to me
right now. He still could.
Pick me up and spin me around.
Yeah. So later, as Howard and Liz are preparing for bed, he's basking in the glow of successfully bribing his son for forgiveness and regaling Liz with stories of the bonding over Turbo Guy.
Oh, you should have seen us.
Did you notice his T-shirt?
Hell yes.
That fucking Centennial Olympic Games, Atlanta 96.
The site of the Eraser premiere.
That's right. He's like, I want to wear this commemorative T-shirt that I had from earlier.
That's awesome.
So Liz interrupts him and gets serious, saying, you got the doll, right? Frantic music and a tight zoom in on Howard's panic face clues us in that he clearly does not remember the doll.
It's like, clearly. If you're Liz, you know he's fucked
immediately
this up.
And she's like, don't tell me. Please do not tell me. She's like, I reminded you to get this thing 2 weeks ago. Howard stammers, then lies, saying, of course. And she's like, Do not tell me you forgot the doll. He says, I've got it, and tries to prove it by reciting all the shit that he just heard his son spouting off, and she is very relieved. Then he doubles down on his lies by teasing her for thinking he'd forgotten and saying that he went and got one right away.
It's a big hubris move.
Yeah.
To shame her.
Yeah.
Forever doubting him.
How could you doubt me, bitch? You're such a weak wife. So, yeah. Liz says good because it would be impossible to find one so close to Christmas. She turns the light out and there's a musical beat and we see Howard's panic-stricken face in a pool of light. The next morning...
That was there. So there's the premise.
Yeah, there's the whole premise of the movie.
So simple. It's so much potential.
That's right. So the next morning, Jamie's enjoying a bowl of Turbo Man cereal in his Turbo Man pajamas. We see Howard come racing down the stairs and like trying to get out the door, but Liz stops and is like, where the fuck are you going? And he says...
Liz, perfectly styled hair and makeup, and she's still in her pajamas.
She never went to sleep.
I guess so.
No.
She was up all night vacuuming?
Yeah.
She's a fucking Stepford wife.
She was like mixing the cake batter, the cookie dough. She was getting everything ready. She was like my nano, like up all night. So he's like, I got to run to the office real quick. I'll be right back. And she's like, hey, man, you can't be going to the office on Christmas Eve. And as at this point, like watching this, like, whoa, fuck, it's Christmas Eve?
Yeah,
no one does anything on Christmas Eve.
They cut to the quick.
Yeah, so he comes in close and tells her that he has to go pick up the DOLL, which he left at the office by mistake.
Apparently his 7-year-old son can't spell.
He's dyslexic. Yeah, I don't know. As he turns to go again, Jamie stops him saying, hey, you can't go to work because there's the parade. And Howard's like, what? And Jamie's like, it's the holiday entertainment parade that we go to every year, except it's not you because you're never around and me and mom go. And then he tells Howard, you have to be there because Turbo Man's going to be at the parade and you can't miss it. Mm-hmm. Howard's like, I promise you I'll be at the parade. Big shit eating grin from Jamie. Howard finally makes it outside, but just in time to see Ted, neighbor, race up with a reindeer on a leash. Ted says, it's a Christmas surprise for Johnny, his son.
Yeah.
Howard continues to be sarcastic with Ted, saying, you think of everything, don't you? Ted replies, Howard, I'm of the mindset you can never do too much to make a child's Christmas magical. Everything he says is like disingenuous bullshit. It's amazing.
So he's so good at that.
Yeah.
I jotted down here. Howard had asked him, well, what are you going to do with this reindeer after? And he's like, I've been watching A Family of Deer down by Lake Minnetonka.
I love that shit.
I thought I'd take him down there and set him free. If nature's kind, they'll take him in like he's one of their own.
They'll take him in like he's one of their own.
Fucker.
And Howard's like, how touching. Then Howard tries to pet the reindeer, but it nips at him, which Ted's then like, that's odd. Reindeer are usually such gentle animals. There must be something about you he doesn't like.
He's like Nita, he won't stop.
He's looking for angles. Howard tries to take his leave, but then Ted asks, where are you off to so early? And Howard tells him he's off to pick up a Turbo Man for Jamie. And then
this is my favorite line. This is my favorite line in the movie, I think, is, I got a Turbo Man for Johnny months ago. It's nestled safely under our tree.
Just slow walking it in. It's nestled safely under our tree.
It's nestled safely under our tree.
Phil Hartman's one of those dudes, because I kind of get this was he found his wheelhouse. Maybe Dan Aykroyded it. He found his wheelhouse and then had to kind of stay there. And then I can't remember who it was, maybe someone from News Radio, but talking about how you could never really know Phil Hartman because he was always kind of this guy.
He was doing a shtick all the time?
Yeah, just had to kind of stay there.
Okay.
And, but man, fucking perfected the art.
I mean, he was born to play this role.
Yeah.
He's nestled safely under our tree.
Yeah, so as Howard tries to drive off, Ted tells him that it's supposed to get icy later. Maybe you ought to put some chains on those tires. And then Howard mumbles, maybe I should wrap some chains around you. Anyway, he pulls away, and then we see Ted roughly yank the reindeer's leash. Come on.
A little crack in the facade of Ted.
And that's the end of the first act of this movie, of our walkthrough of Jingle All the Way.
This movie moves briskly.
It does.
Yeah, I like it.
Without our preamble, this episode would have been 15 minutes long. But we know you enjoyed it, and there's some stuff we'll cut out, I'm sure. But it's fun. Yeah, it's a good time so far.
That's your setup. There you have it.
We're going to speed walk our way through the rest of this shit.
Hijinks are going to ensue.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with more on Jingle All the Way.
We'll be back.
They call me Backdoor Santa. I make my runs about the break of day. They call me Backdoor Santa. I make my runs about the break of day.